Well, now that all you folks have gotten your exercise from the theme song, incidentally, that is "The Stripper" by David Rose, and it was the song that launched my broadcast career and also launched the career of Gypsy Rose and a couple other gals we won't talk about on the program today. Welcome to the Irv Homer Show. We're broadcasting from IrvHomer.com. And of course, the program is growing with the email that we receive and the phone calls we receive and the viewing audience, and it's unbelievable. And all this is put together by RGH Computer Services. For all your computer needs, you simply give them a call at 215-322-8685. 215-322-8685. Excuse me. As you can tell, it's a very informal program. Before we go any further, we have a special guest with us tonight, and you can see Pearl Polto on your television screen. Once again, let me remind you what we have available for you. As you know, the election is coming up. A lot of folks are confused about the Electoral College, and you'll notice on television at night they say these are the green, the red states, these are the blue states, and how many electors are here. Pennsylvania has 22 electors. So we really do not win elections by popular vote. It's the Electoral College on how you win the vote. On my website, is that September 8th program, Ron?
It's just
September the 8th archive,
yes.
Right? On September the 8th archive on the Irv Homer Show, you'll find a copy of the Electoral College. You'll be able to understand how this thing works. What is the Electoral College? How were the electors chosen? The election of president and vice president. In case of no majority, winner-take-all method. So you'll at least be informed to know what happened in Florida in the year 2000 with President Bush and with John Kerry. And people say, well, the popular vote, ladies and gentlemen, does not elect the President of the United States. It's available on the September 8th archive. Now the big thing is, and it was a pleasure to know this lady for many, many, many years when the whole idea of credit was still new. What is credit? How does it work? And the pitfalls of it. And people, I said to Pearl Polto, who is my delightful guest right now, Pearl, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And once again, like I told you in the beginning of the program, I'm not an interview. It's your program. You tell the listener what the problem
Irv,
is.
I have to thank you because I don't even know if you remember, but in the 80s, you were the first host that put me on the radio at WWDB.
Well, my credit was lousy. That's
Well, no, it wasn't that. You just said it. You just said a keyword. You said credit wasn't the in thing then, and no one understood it. No one understood what a credit report was. For some reason, you did. You did. Many hosts didn't out there, TV and radio. Many hosts didn't understand what credit was all about. They didn't even know what a credit report was. You did for some reason, and you started. You started the ball rolling, and it's what, 20 years later? And I'm still going strong, but more people are going strong with credit problems. Now they're understanding the scores, the credit reports. Now they understand.
And as a result of that, Pearl Polto has put together in a book called Credit Lifeline that is available to you, and Pearl will tell you how you can avail yourself of it. In addition to that, there are 6 DVDs here in the complete package. So you'll tell our viewers about that, Pearl. What is this all about? What's going to be in this book, The Credit Lifeline, that would be beneficial to the folks today?
You know, when I wrote the book, I've written 5 books on credit, but when I've written Credit Lifeline, I wanted to write the book where I would say to myself, if you were a consumer, what would you want in this book? I would want pure everyday language where a person can understand the everyday terms of credit, and then I would also want letters in the book where they could just copy it for everything that gets going on in their life. This package is the same package that was sold on QVC. I had to put together my book and 6 CDs on everything there was to know about credit. Credit, we have a problem with credit, but people do not know where to go. They went to attorneys. Attorneys, sadly enough to say, know nothing about credit. They just know bankruptcy laws. And the reason why I can say that is I'm also a paralegal. I became a paralegal because I wanted to know what the attorneys knew about credit. Nothing. Just bankruptcy laws, not credit laws. And it's so important because it's the credit laws that can get you out of trouble. People call me every day from around the country and they say, should I pay this? Should I pay my bill? Should I pay that? And everyone is morally and legally obligated to pay their bills, but you don't pay the wrong people. And the wrong people, what I mean is, so you understand the process, you, let's say Irv Homer, owe a bill. Something went wrong in your life, health problems, you cannot afford to pay it no more. So what happens? You can't afford to pay it, but the creditor or your doctor or whoever wants to get paid. So they go to their accounting and they say, Irv Homer cannot pay us the money anymore. So the accounting says, let's charge it off. Let's write it off as a tax deduction off their income taxes. And they do. So now it's not that you don't owe the money, but they already gotten paid. Now the creditor or the doctor has the money. They got it as a tax write-off. They don't want you no more. They don't even call you no more. But somebody else knocks on their door and says to them, hey, can I buy this account that Irv Homer that you sold? Sure, take it pennies to a dollar. Take it. Now the bill collector starts harassing you, and you're saying, but look at this. I don't even know this company. It's a bill collector. Do you have to pay the bill collector? No. No, because the bill collector you did not sign a contract with. The bill collector is the third party. It's the bill collector that's going to be harassing you to doomsday to aggravate you enough to pay them. And even if you pay them pennies on a dollar, they're ahead of the game. Now, attorneys are hurting today because now many attorneys are bill collectors. But the attorneys, as much as the bill collectors, have to go by the same guidelines as the bill collectors do, the Fair Debt Collection Act.
Okay, now wait a minute. Slow down a little bit. Let me get this because I've got a small brain. The doctor writes off the bad debt and gets a tax credit from the government for
Correct.
it. Okay? He then sells that account to a collection agency?
Correct.
So he double dips. He gets a
He's not allowed to double dip. He's allowed to sell it free of charge, but he's not.
What do you mean sell it free of charge?
In other words, you got your money. He's got his money.
He's got his money from the government.
From the government, tax write-off.
Right.
And now a bill collector will come up to him and says, can I have your account? Here, take it. They take it.
Oh, they can't sell them the account.
No, they cannot sell the account.
Once they get that tax deduction.
Once they get that tax deduction.
So out of the goodness of their heart, they get... But there's no kickback or any kind of...
No. Unless the bill collector is working for the company. If the bill collector is an inside working for the company, and sometimes doctors now do hire inside
companies.
Exactly. Yeah. Then they're allowed to get pennies on a dollar, and they have the bill collector seeing if they can collect the money so they don't charge it off. So there's so many ways, but it's getting out of hand because now bill collectors are hiring bill collectors. You may have on your credit report a doctor bill. Let's say you have on your credit report a doctor bill. And that doctor bill went to a bill collector. Now the bill collector can't get it, he can't get nothing out of you, so he sells it to another bill collector. So you may have 5 counts on your credit report with just one bill. One bill. And now they wonder why we're in a credit crunch. You wonder why.
It's sort of a Ponzi scheme of building on the same debt.
The good news is, everybody thinks that the good news is there's help out there. There's legal credit rights out there. Like everybody says, stagnant. They have to stay with bad credit for 7 years. No, they don't. They don't have to stay with credit. They can get their bad credit removed in 30 days. It's not a scam. It's the law that you're entitled to. It's 30 days that you can have that bad credit removed and start all over again. And people doesn't realize this. In 30 days now. And how does that work is, let's say, an example. Let's say you came to me and you bought my book. And you decided to do it yourself. And all of a sudden, you're writing to the credit bureau. And you're saying to the credit bureau, investigate this account. Now, this is the account that you owe that bill that you didn't pay. Charged off, right? It's on your credit report that everybody's telling you it's got to stay on for 7 years. So, as you're writing to the credit bureau, their job is not just to give you a credit report. Their job is to investigate it with the original creditor, who could be the doctor. But the original creditor doesn't have your account anymore. He sold it or gave it away to a bill collector. So what happens? The law states under Section 611 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, if the creditor or doctor or judgment or court does not respond back to that credit bureau in 30 days, it's the credit bureau's job to remove it. It's no miracles, no magic. It's just the laws that you're entitled to, that you're sitting back with all this credit. Now, all these mortgage companies have all these bad credit debts for years, and they don't even know the laws that they could actually have good credit by turning the people around and turning the economy around.
All of that is available in Pearl Polto's book, Credit Lifeline, and the 6 DVDs that are available here, the CDs. Well, Pearl, what boggles my mind is that is there any type of government oversight into this whole business of credit? I mean, can we depend on our politicians to protect us and inform us, or?
Good question, and I'm laughing and I'm snuggling because I do seminars all across the United States, and I did a seminar in New York, and I can't mention names because there's a Privacy Act, but Congress is the one that passed the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Congress is the one that passed all these credit laws, and yet I have many congressmen who are clients. Figure that one out. I have many congressmen, a few congressmen in New York State that are getting harassed by bill collectors, don't even know the law. So figure that one out. So these are the same congressmen. So, and there's ways to correct this system as long as we have the right congressmen in Congress, because it's federal laws. There are ways to correct the system, but no, the government they step back because everything's gone crazy. There's too many lobbyists in Washington paying off the congressmen. There's too many lobbyists in Washington when it comes to the credit card companies paying everybody off so they can keep their little thing, which they can do to the people. You have to remember, once a credit card company charges off an account, I can predict the banks that will go under. Because if they can only take off so many charge-offs across the country, and if they take off too many, they're going to go under. They can take only so many tax deductions. They're going to go under. This is why all these banks are going under. They took off too many. And the reason why they're taking off too many is you may call your credit card company and you say, "Hi, I can't afford to pay the $100 no more. Can only afford to pay $25. Sorry, we want the $100. Well, you're just telling them you can't afford it. But what you just did was you're saying, well, then fine, I'm not going to pay you. They don't want it. They start the process of collections, charging it off so they get their tax deduction of $10,000, how much you owe. And who's at fault? They are. All they had to do was agree with you to say, okay, I will accept the 25 until you get back in the system again. But they're not, because they're greedy out there. The lobbyists are greedy. The credit cards companies are greedy. And Congress, they don't even understand it. They don't understand what's going on. This is why we're having a problem today. And sometimes I call myself, and people call me the miracle worker, because they feel like they can't make a move without me. And they can't, because they're going to make a mistake somewhere down the line.
On the whole line, we're speaking with Pearl Polto, author of Credit Lifeline and 4 other books, and a paralegal and a curricula vitae here that I wish I had, because I'm just a dummy when it comes to this. The amount of credit that is available, you know what makes this country different than say Russia, China? There's no credit in those countries.
They're trying.
They're trying. But they looked at the pitfalls of credit. What credit can? Credit is a good thing.
Yeah, it disguised the limit.
But it's also a bad thing because you can. Is credit an addiction, Pearl?
Oh, of course, it's worse than the casinos. When you say, the credit could be a gold mine for people if they understood how to use it. When you said addiction, it's like the casinos, because if you don't know how to use it, and you don't know how to use it properly, you're going to go under.
That credit card is the casino reward card.
Exactly. If you go into a store, with a credit card or $10, you're going to hold that $10 because you're not going to spend it as much because it's cash. But if you go into that store with a credit card, a piece of plastic, you're going to buy things that you don't even need. The problem with people, though, if they understood how to use, and which is in my book too, which I discussed, but how to use credit cards the right way. I always say credit cards the sky's the limit. And I focused this one year. One year what I did was I looked at the paper, there was a Fiat sports car. A guy was going back to college, and I called him up and I said, "How much are you selling your car for?" He said, $10,000. I said, "I'll tell you what, I will give you $6,000. And I won't have to get a loan from the bank. If I like the car, I will buy it on the spot." And I knew I liked the car because I did my homework on the car. And he was going back to college, and even 10 was too low. He was trying to just get rid of it. So what I did is I went to my bank, and I gave him 6 credit cards. And I said, I want $1,000 off of each one. And they gave me the $1,000 off of each one. Now you can go to your ATM with the credit card machines. But back then you couldn't. You had to go to the bank to get money out of your credit cards. So I went to the guy. I liked the car. I bought it. I drove it for the whole summer. Had a sports car, top down. And then come the fall, I put an ad in the paper and I sold it for $15,000 and made a profit. Paid all the credit cards. That's just a car. People do it with wine. Now somebody said, "Can this be done with a home?" Of course it can. Of course it can. You can actually. If you look at the average person. An average person may have 5 or 6 credit cards, but if you look at the average rich person, they may have 20 credit cards over $150,000 to $200,000. Well, look at that, $200,000. You can buy a whole home. Credit cards are unsecure. Your home is secure. So look what the sky is, the limit.
Well, I know just in a small instance, I know a person who buys things on credit cards anticipating that the department store is going to have a 20% sale the following week. Well, while the product is there, while the clothing item is there,
Right.
we'll buy it, put it on the credit card, take it back for credit when the sale goes on, and then buys the same thing back because it's there. She knows it's there because she bought it and returns it.
And returns it.
So you can, as you said, you can use a credit card to your advantage if you read your book and if you know how credit works.
People, if you have an addiction to it and you're lacking, sometimes a senior citizen will say to me, "Hey, what can I do? I'm only living on Social Security." Wrong. You can live off the credit cards until the day you die, and then when you die, they're paid off upon death. And you can go on a trip every month if you want to on the credit cards. Because credit cards are unsecure. They're not secured by property. Like somebody will say, "Can they take my property if I don't pay them?" No, they're unsecure. Sure. And people will scare you. How do they scare you? Well, naturally, the bill collectors are scaring you. They hire even a sheriff to come knocking on your door to say, "We're going to take everything in your house. Your house is going up for shelf sale." Let them try it. Let them try it, because let me tell you, this is the law too. If somebody knocked on your door and said, "We're doing a sale here, a shelf sale next week because you didn't pay your credit cards," let them dare, because that TV or whatever could be mine. And they can't take it, and they know the law. But they know you don't know the law. And that's the sad part, because, I used to say that our government, our credit card companies talking about terrorism. This is one big form of terrorism. How can a bill collector or even a sheriff's department knock on your door? That's terrorizing you. Or say they're going to lock you up. It's all against the law and they know it, but they're doing it. Isn't that called terror?
Well, can't you countersue them? I mean, if they would attempt to do something like that, they know they're violating the law.
We do it. We sue bill collectors every day. Every day. I always say, mail me the bills. Let's say people, when you get your bill collector letters, they throw it out. No, not anymore. Don't throw it out. Mail it to me. Because here's why. We give it to our consumer protection attorney. He may look at that letter. There could be one word that's a violation, and that one word, like one of my clients in Florida, already collected $87,000. $87,000. She was getting harassed by a husband and wife team that were bill collectors, but they harassed her to the point that she was almost going to commit suicide. It got that bad, but we turned the tables around. We sued the husband and wife bill collector, and she collected in Florida $87,000. Each state is different with your violations. Like Pennsylvania, you get $1,000 for each violation. If they call you and say, "We're going to lock you up," what you say to them is, "I'm recording you right now. What's your name?" They won't give it to you. You need their name and address, not name and phone number. And you can send them, it's in my book, it's already written out for you. You could send them a cease communication letter. And that cease communication letter, once they receive it, they have to stop all calls. If they don't, you have a free lawsuit case too. So you're trapping the bill collectors, but they know. And interviewing a bill collector one time, I said to them, "Why do they do it?" And people will say, if it's against the law, why do they do it? Well, robbing a 7-Eleven is against the law too, but they do it. And a bill collector said to me one time, if we have 10 people, and 5 of us know the laws and 5 doesn't, we made out. So we'd rather pay the 5 that doesn't know the laws out of court settlements, but then we made more off of these 5 for the harassment charge. And this is how people get away with it today. Now, it's against the law. It's illegal. Why doesn't our system, why doesn't Washington see all this? They do.
Well, before we go into that, our special guest today is Pearl Polto, ladies and gentlemen. We're broadcasting from irvhomer.com. Our website is www.irvhomer.com. Email address is evilerv@irvhomer.com. RGH Computer Services putting this package together. We do have a chat room, and if you get on the chat room, we'll take your questions and Pearl will answer them. And we have a couple questions on the chat room board now. What are the questions, Ron?
First one is from Rick from Doylestown. Should I check my credit rating with all the 3 bureaus, or are they all the same?
No. First of all, Rick, they're not. It's a good question too.
Well, what are the 3 credit
reports? The 3 credit bureaus are TransUnion.
TransUnion is one.
Equifax is another, or CBI, and Experian, which is also TRW. They try to confuse the people. When you see this, get a free copy of your credit report. Get the free copy off your computer. It's good and it's bad because what they're trying to do is get you into a subscription. You're allowed a free copy of your credit report once a year from all three bureaus. They're in competition with one another. And like to give you, so you understand, if you go for a mortgage, they pull up what is called an in-file. It's a third-party computer. It's like you pulling up all three bureaus on one page. But all three bureaus are not the same. They're all different credit bureaus. They're in competition with one another. They want you to buy their bureau. But it's wise to get all three individual ones, not in files, till you see your true report. And that's the first step, is look at it every 6 months with this identity theft. And identity theft is not caused by the people. Identity theft is caused by the credit bureaus selling your name to other companies with it. So, Rick, in Doylestown, is the first step is to get a copy of your credit report, all three of them.
All three.
And don't let anybody else pull a copy of your credit report. And the reason for that is every time that you look inside your report, or every time somebody looks inside your report, you're lowering your credit score.
That's considered a hit.
And that's a hit too. And if a mortgage company, let's say you're shopping for a mortgage or a car, if a mortgage company pulls up your report on this in-file, you drop 30 points. I know a guy that had 800, in 2 weeks he dropped down to 500. He didn't know why. We found out everybody and their mother was pulling up his credit report. So
in other words, if I went to Ford automobile dealers,
you lose.
To get a price on a car,
you lose.
Each one of those dealers hit my credit report, the TransUnion or Equifax, one of those, and that's a hit. So the mere fact that I'm shopping for 4 cars knocks my credit down.
Yes, and the good news is what you can do is here's what I tell people to do, especially if you're out looking for a car. Do not give your Social Security number out to these car dealers. They want your Social Security to pull up that report so they can make a sale. What you do is you get a copy of your credit report. You bring it to these car dealers. You say, do not pull it up. I'm not giving you my Social Security number. And I will tell you when I like the car. You're the one that's going car shopping, not them. So they just want to make a sale. So you're doing your homework. You're bringing it. And same with the mortgage company. The mortgage companies, though, have to pull it up, but you don't want to go to Tom, Dick, and Harry's mortgage company because you're lowering it 30 points. So what you say is, here's my credit report. Now, you're looking at it. You tell me. This is, I pulled it up, and it's mine, and I'm going to pass it around to everybody. I don't want you to pull a report on me. Well, we have to by our policy. Well, then I don't want you to get my mortgage for me. So that's the same with a car dealer.
So you're in the driver's seat, Rick.
You have to be in the driver's seat or you lose.
Now, when you apply for the credit report yourself, that's not considered a hit.
No, because you're entitled to a free one. Once a year, you're entitled to a free one with each one of them.
Okay, Rick, we hope you answered your question. Pearl Polto is our guest. We're taking your calls on credit, and what is your problem with it? Our next question, Ron.
Okay, it's Mike. This is Mike. With the financial climate of today, is it more important to pay off debt or have money available on hand? And also, how important is credit going to be in the years ahead in this uncertain financial times?
Good question. And the first thing, let me go to the end one first. We're going to have a credit problem in this country for years to come. Years to come because no one's going to correct it. Second of all, do you pay off your debt? No. No. You never pay off your debt because you need that financial money with you. I know some men that are still putting their money inside their mattress. That's how scared they are of the system. And are they wrong? No, I wouldn't say so. Because what's happening out there, banks are freezing people's checking accounts. They're taking money. Banks are even going to get caught for this one day because attorneys are saying freeze the account. They're freezing it because they're afraid of the attorneys. They have to pay off. If you owe a debt and you want to negotiate with a creditor because you do not have the money, all you have to do is call them up to say, look, I want you to lower my interest rate to 4% or 3%, and if you don't, I'm just going to give it to another credit card company, and I'm going to transfer it over. So what's your choice? Do you want me to do this or not? But if you have debt that's already in collections, that's a no-no. You're not going to pay them. You're only going to pay the good ones, but before it gets 30 days late, you want to transfer it to a lower interest rate, and you have the right to call up the supervisor. Don't ask for an employee. Ask for a supervisor to say, look, I'm checking over my finances. I want to actually pay off you, or if you lower my interest rate, I'll stay with you. It's your choice. What do you want me to do? And if you say I can't do it, put your supervisor on, because tomorrow I'm going to be transferring everything. And this way, you got money in the bank. You got money under your mattress,
Mattress.
wherever you have, and your cash flow is good. So everybody has this paranoia thing. Let's pay the mortgage off. Let's pay the credit cards off, and they end up with nothing left over. And then if they're dead and gone, they have nothing left over. It's nice to have the credit cards paid off upon death, and you have a pile of money in your house or your bank.
Next question is what?
It is from Rick. I don't think this may be the same one from Doylestown. We're not sure. He gets canvassed with mail daily from credit card companies, and he just throws them away. Should he shred them so that someone can't steal his identity?
Obviously, that's a sure answer there. You have to shred it because I may get it. I may get that card, and I may take the credit card, and I may say send in to them. Here's what the trick that they use. It's in your trash. Rick, it's in your trash. I take it out of your trash, and I say change of address, P.O. Box, and then I mail it back to them. And then they give me the credit card, and I got it, and I go to town with it. You get the bill because then I could always switch it back to your address if I want to because I already have the original address. So there's a lot I can do. There's a lot of things that are going on out there that people are trying with credit, they're getting away with, and they're getting away with this because the system is getting worse, not better. But when it comes to credit card companies, shred everything. The identity theft is not just coming with the people, it's also coming with the companies, and the the credit bureaus are selling you to telemarketers. I mean, they just got fined, and they're actually getting sued right now because they're selling your name with good credit. This is why you're getting all these things in the mail, because of the credit card companies. They have a promotional inquiry on the bottom of your credit report. That's where that's coming from.
Pearl Polto is our guest, ladies and gentlemen. That's Polto. The book is Credit Lifeline. It's available at, where is it available? Along with the DVDs.
They
the
could
CDs.
sell. They can call my toll-free number, 1-800-876-CREDIT. They can call actually my toll-free number, or
We'll put that on our website, Ron, for Pearl.
1-800-CREDIT?
1-800-876-CREDIT. CRED.
1-800-876-CREDIT.
They can get the book. They can become a client. They can, if they're busy. There's a lot of things you can do.
Have any of the schools gotten in touch with you where they would set up a curriculum in the school? See, we have agendas and curriculum in schools that don't apply to living. Got nothing to do with it. When I went to school, I wondered, how do I change a fuse in the basement? I don't know about French or algebra later. I'll tell them later on about it. But we don't teach it. We know more about, the average person in America knows more about allegedly communism or socialism than I know what capitalism is, which was coined by a communist. I mean, that's how brilliant these people. And if I hear one more talk show say, "Oh, the country's going socialist," I'm going to kill them. We're going state capitalism. When the government bails us out, it's state capitalism. There's nothing social about it. And these morons like Limbaugh and Hannity, these crazy people that are on radio misleading the American people. I don't know whether they're doing it on purpose, Pearl, or whether they're doing it because they just don't know any better.
No, on purpose.
I don't think they know any better, to tell you the truth. Why don't we train young people, parents watching this program, or grandparents, to sit down with their kids and show them the pluses and minuses of credit? Because the credit card, I go back, is a damn addiction.
Yep.
I mean, it's something for nothing. And I've said, and I don't know whether you'd agree with me or not, maybe we can go into this a little bit. If you had to pay cash for that gasoline, when you buy gasoline today, I guarantee you wouldn't buy half of the gasoline you buy. As long as you can put that credit card in and pump that gas and then get that $400 or $500 bill at the end of the month, you're happy as a pig in mud because you don't know. But let's suppose, what kind of advice you give for parents or grandparents to teach their kids and their grandkids the good side of credit and the bad side of credit?
Well, it's interesting you said that because that's in the book too, believe it or not. But I went to Texas one time and we did a talk show in Texas. And what the credit card companies are doing now is they're going into the schools, not just the high schools. They're going into the schools and they're saying to the kids, get a credit card now. Get a credit card. people that are 10 years old and 13 years old, and they're getting credit cards. And what's happening is, when I approach them, their answer is, we're trying to teach the children of tomorrow. Now, this is the banks now. We're trying to teach the children of tomorrow credit. Now, we all know they're not responsible to pay the bill because they're underage, so the parents are responsible. We all know some of the parents with bad credit will get this because they're getting, it's only $100, but you give $100 to a teenager in let's say high school. In 1 hour, it's all going to be spent. They're going to go to the mall. It's going to, where's responsibility teaching them on this credit card? You're right. And I've been around for 25 years. I do seminars all over, and yet there's brain dead. I call it brain dead because the kids of today are going to have it much harder tomorrow because they're not getting the education that they should be. The parents, it's like a denial. They're too embarrassed. They're losing their homes. Their home and foreclosure. This should have never happened. This should have never happened because there's ways to save homes, but everybody's in blinders. I watched the TV commercial where the family's eating their dinner and the phone rings and they're all ignoring it. And I'm saying, unbelievable. They have a commercial like this. And yet, this is what happens today's world. I get letters every day when I say mail me the bills. Well, I see letters unopened. I see letters from bill collectors. I see regular letters that aren't even bill collector letters. People are in denial today because they're scared. They're afraid that nothing can be done. And this is why their homes, this is why they're losing their homes. The kids of today are going to be taught if the parents aren't learning the lesson. So first it's the parent, and yes, I would love to go instead of doing seminars all across the United States, to go to schools all across the United States. But they don't understand it. They don't get it. They think the kids today, oh, they don't need credit. They do. They have to understand the credit, because once you get that credit card at 18 years old or at 21, and you think it's a free day, it's a free pass in a mall, a free pass to buy stuff, by the time you're 25 or 30, I get that phone call. I will get you. Because you're saying, now I want to buy a house, I'm getting married, and I can't. I have a credit problem, and I'm only 25 years old. So I hear this story every day from all different ages. This is the first year, and I'm appalled by it. This is the first year that I'm not just getting the kids. I'm getting the other side. I'm getting people that are 85 and 90 with credit problems. Figure that out. And I say to them, why get your credit done? Because they're afraid of the bill collectors.
I remember many, many, many years ago, I would say 65 years ago. 65 years ago. I had a reversal in business. And I had a Gulf credit card. And I think I owed them $200 on that credit card. And this guy was playing tough. I said, I'll tell you what, pal, do me a favor. Give me your phone number, and I'll call you. I'm not hiding from you. I don't have the money. So you give me your phone number, and I'll call you. So I'd call him 2 o'clock in the morning and talk with him. He just gave me his number. I eventually paid Gulf off. And it was a happy relationship.
Yes.
The thing that you said is so vitally important, Pearl. I want you to elaborate on it. And that is, don't ignore these letters.
Yeah.
There may be something in that letter to be your advantage, where you can fight back.
Yes.
You owe the money. Okay, let's assume that you owe the money. And most people basically are honest. They want to pay their debts.
Everyone.
But something critically happens. You get caught up in this addiction. You throw in a credit card.
Or
you
call
sick.
a 1-800
number. You lost your job. You give up. Whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is that it makes you into a felon because of the embarrassment. Why are people so afraid to say, hey, I don't have any money. I'm broke, okay?
You just said it, the embarrassment. In 1989, I did my first seminar. And while I was doing the seminar, what happened was, I did the whole speech, and I said, anybody here have a credit problem? No one had a credit problem. And when we were all done, we went out to the hallway with our tables. Yeah, there was a line by saying, can I have your card? Can I have your card? Can I have your card? And I was amazed. Then when I learned this, the next time I did the seminar, I said, no one in this room is exempt. And I want to shake the hand of a person that never had a credit problem, never will have a credit problem. I want to shake Donald Trump's hand. I can't even shake his hand now because now he's got a credit problem. So I want the people to know they're not alone. Years ago, 10 years ago, it was 1 out of 100 people with a credit problem. Today, it's 1 out of 2 people with credit problems.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pearl Polto is our guest, ladies and gentlemen, and we're delighted to have Pearl on the program because she's not easy to get with her busy schedule. She's the author of 5 books. The book that I suggest is Credit Lifeline. And, of course, there are 6 CDs here available at 1-800-876-CREDIT. Correct, Pearl?
Correct.
1-800-876-CREDIT. It's great reading. It's easy to understand. It'll give you an education that you'll say, geez, I didn't know that. You know all about communism. You know all about, so why not learn about how this so-called capitalism works to your advantage? Credit is not bad. Credit is good, but you have to understand it.
Yeah. Yes.
You've got to understand it. And this lady here is, over the past 25 years, has become a jewel, especially at this point in American history, where everybody is fighting this so-called credit demon that has popped up. And if the big boys would have listened, this situation in Washington or in Wall Street probably wouldn't have happened.
This would not have happened.
And
You're
there
right.
ain't no such thing, folks, as a free lunch. Take my word. There is no such thing, unless you go to the casino where they do give you a free lunch. See, that's how they suck you in down there. Let's go to our chat room, and we have another question for Pearl Polto. We're speaking about credit.
First one's from Mike from Reading. Should I put a credit freeze on my account for extra protection?
A credit freeze, as you're saying, that security thing, I wouldn't do so, because anytime you would have to dispute your report, you got that freeze that you got to undo. You don't need to put any kind of freeze on any kind of credit report. All you have to do is check it every 6 months to see what else is on there. And everybody says, well, I have to go through a song and a dance to remove something. It's no, you don't. All you have to do is dispute it with the credit bureau. Simple. You have to bypass everybody. But there's no such thing as a credit freeze when there's no need for it. Why do extra work when you don't have to?
And what is a credit freeze, Pearl?
A credit freeze is it's not even a credit freeze. It's when a person
don't let me go over a certain limit or something.
yeah, and if I pulled up your report, I couldn't pull it up.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to pull it up. You would know.
Okay.
They're going to email you. They're going to call you. They're going to do something with you by saying this company just tried to pull up your report. But you may want to dispute it, or somebody else may want to do something, and that freeze is on forever. There's ways to, and it's a wasted money in my eyes. It's a wasted what the system is doing. It's another game that the system is playing with people. That's all I call it.
How does the individual protect the information on a credit report from another individual? A company can identify themselves. They have a code name or code. I suppose I say, well, hey, Pearl, saying I want to check her credit card, see what it says. Could I do that?
Yes, you can.
Oh, so it's available. It's open to the public.
Open to the public. Not allowed, not supposed to be. There's a Privacy Act, and it's illegal.
Right.
It's open to the public. Anybody, if they want to, will do it, can do it, and they are doing it. It's up to you to pull a copy of your credit report. Now, the reason why I'm saying it's up to you to pull a copy of your credit report, because when you get your report, let's say I pulled your report up. I'm going to be on there as an inquiry. Now, that's illegal, so you could sue me. You could sue me now because I'm on yours looking inside your report without your permission. Anybody that looks in your report has to have your permission. Does people know this? No. They have a whole list of inquiries that they never even heard of. That's all these people looking inside your report illegally, may I add, and that's your protection. You could turn the tables and sue them. We should have a lot of lawsuit cases out there because it would stop. I always say there's only 6,000 bill collectors in our country. Once we stop paying bill collectors, they'd all be out of business.
How much information is on that credit report that you get? Is it pretty extensive, Pearl?
Yeah, pretty expensive. Your account numbers.
Extensive, I mean.
You have your name and address, your former address, your employer, your phone number sometimes. You don't even have to put your phone number on a credit report. You can dispute it to say remove it. There's a Privacy Act. Your Social Security, and then they think they're being slick because they only put the last numbers of the Social Security number when you're disputing it. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Attorneys can get it in one day. Your neighbor could get it. This is what they're doing out there. But if you pull a copy, and I keep on going back to a couple years ago, I said it once every year. Now it's every 6 months because of the scams that are going out there. And as I said, I could go into your trash, order something, put it to a post office box, get it, and then redo it with your address back on it again, and you're getting the bill. And you would never know it until you pulled a copy of your credit report or getting arrested by bill collector.
You say about going into the trash. Do you remember Herb Denenberg?
Yes.
Yeah, Denenberg's dumpsters.
Herb Denenberg.
The dangers of what could be in your trash.
Yes.
It's
And
unbelievable.
no one knew it.
And no one knows it. Even
No one
today,
knew it.
people don't shred things and information is available.
You know, you said something which is important because you brought up a topic with Herb, and there's three. When let's say somebody is trying to clear their credit, and I'm glad somebody's trying to clear their credit. There's credit repair companies out there. A lot of them are scams. I'm against them because why? They charge people thousands of dollars. They don't know the laws, and I wouldn't take them. Then there was counsel services, free to the people, quote. And if you've seen it on television, and it's the truth, they were taking your money to pay the creditors off. But half of them were not paying the creditors off. They were pocketing the money. Now, these same ones that went under, and these were non-profit, may I add, now these same non-profit ones went out of business after they got caught and went into the credit repair companies. So it was a double whammy. Or if you had a credit problem, you went to an attorney. You figured, attorney knows everything. Attorney only advised you to file bankruptcy. So that was the wrong move too, because bankruptcy is the law. It's got to stay on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. So a person can do it themselves if they have the time. If they don't have the time, yes, I do the work. I'm a consumer advocate for credit rates.
Pearl Poulter was our special guest. Credit Lifeline is the book. 6 CDs available here by calling 1-800-876-CREDIT. 1-800-876-CREDIT. I'd suggest you do it, folks. It's informative. I know it ain't never going to happen to you. Pearl, if I hear that story one more time, it ain't never going to happen to me. I think I'm going to commit suicide and shoot myself. We have another question on the line there on our chat room, ladies and gentlemen, available to you.
Frank from Roxborough. If a married couple each have a credit card in their individual names and only one dies, will the balance still due? Is the surviving spouse responsible to pay off the credit card?
Good question, really good question, because that happens a lot. A person in a household, husband and wife, should have two, not one, two credit cards, one in each name. If the spouse should die, the husband or wife is not responsible for that credit card. If you have it under both names and you should die, naturally the wife is going to be responsible. But this is why I always say separate yourself when it comes to credit in your marriage, because you will have an example is I appeared on Channel 9 one time years ago, and there was an audience member, and she said, my husband just passed away. He had a credit card, and the credit card company made me pay $10,000. And I said, was your name on it? No, but I'm his wife. And I said, no, I didn't ask that. I said, right on the air, we called up the company. We called up the company right on the air, which was American Express. And we said to them, and we got a supervisor on the air live. And I said, we have a member in the audience here. American Express just took $10,000 because her spouse owed the money, and one of your employees said that she had to pay for it. No. She just volunteered to service. She volunteered to pay for her husband's debts, which she was not liable for. Would they give her the money back? Did they give her the money back? No. So before, right now, if you're husband and wife and you're 50, 60, 70 or whatever, call up your credit card company. You say, you know what, I want two cards. I don't want just one anymore with me and my wife on it. I don't want my wife could use my card because there's a mistake there. Because then you will be held, and then they can go after you. The bill collectors could go after you when they die. But if you have it in two names, even though you're married, they cannot come after you. It's death upon a death certificate. That's it. End of story. So yes, two names, not one name, and you're not responsible for your spouses.
What about a husband and wife that have the one card with the same company, one card in their name, one card in the wife's name?
That's okay. It's still separate. Still separate credit cards. Still separate. And actually, that's to your advantage because let's suppose you have $10,000 on your card and she has $10,000 on her card.
No, I don't mean that, Pearl. I misled you. It's one credit card company.
Okay.
Okay, let's say Bank of America, just for the hell of it.
Okay.
And it says Joe Smith.
Right.
And the other card says Mary Smith.
No.
It's the same account.
No. Wrong.
That's wrong. Okay.
Wrong, because then you're responsible.
It's
She's responsible. It's the same account
can't
number.
they go after the estate?
No.
Can't
It's
let them say.
credit cards are unsecure.
Totally unsecure.
They're like a casino chip.
Right.
They're unsecure. They're not allowed to attach. Even though they say it and they threaten you, they're not allowed. When I say two cards, I mean two separate numbers
cards.
and not one number that your spouse is included on your card.
On your card, gotcha.
Because the good news is if you had $10,000 and your wife had $10,000 on a Bank of America card, but with her card and the bill came in, she could pay your card, you could pay her card, and for the rest of your life. You're until upon death, and then that's it. It's paid on upon death. Pearl
Poulter was our special guest, ladies and gentlemen. We're broadcasting from IrvHomer.com. My website, once again, is www.irvhomer.com. You can email me at evilerv@irvhomer.com, and you can get a copy of Pearl's Credit Lifeline book and the CDs by calling 1-800-876-CREDIT, 1-800-876-CREDIT. Pearl, in light of the fact that we are, the thing that made me suspicious about what came down now was when the administration changed the bankruptcy laws. Now, things just don't happen out of the clear blue.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. And many people think, well, I did a program on why did they change the bankruptcy laws? And nobody paid any attention. I said to my friend, something is in the wind.
Yeah.
Something's going down.
Went down.
That they anticipate that there's going to be bankruptcy problems or defaults or mortgage default. Mm-hmm. I'm not a genius, but you can tell by the smell that something, it didn't pass the smell test. I recall many years ago, and I was very friendly with Sylvia Porter. I don't know if you remember Sylvia from the New York Times, when they increased the FDIC from 40,000 to 100,000 on deposits, and everybody says, "Oh, isn't that wonderful?" And I'm screaming. I says, "It's the worst possible thing that could happen."
Yeah.
Because now the banks were given $60,000 of money guaranteed by the federal government that they could play around with and give it out to people that had no right to receive credit.
What happened there?
My question, I suppose, is Pearl, do you follow the trends on things that happen, and then you could almost predict that something's going down?
You just said it. You can predict it. If you can follow what's going on and watch your news and watch your TV, you can really predict what's going to happen, who's going to close down. The bankruptcy code, what was happening there when I was writing this book, and this was years ago, I went to the bankruptcy court, and everybody, there was hundreds and hundreds of people there, but I did my survey for the book, and I said, why are you filing bankruptcy? He said, I'm getting harassed by bill collectors. 90% of the people were getting harassed by bill collectors. Now, those 90% of the people, if I could have a stand down there by saying, you don't have to file bankruptcy, you can sue the bill collectors. And what happened was, the attorneys were all in business. All the bankruptcy attorneys were in business. Come here, file bankruptcy, and we'll clear out your mess. Actually, to me, it was a blessing. It was a blessing. Because now you just can't go to the bankruptcy court to say, I want to file because I'm getting harassed by bill collectors. Now they're forcing. But the problem is they're forced to go to a counsel service, who I'm against them too, but they're in it like in between. But they can sue the bill collectors. They don't have to file bankruptcy. They don't need to pay these credit card bill collector letters. The attorneys are hurting right now. This is why the attorneys became bill collectors. So now half of the attorneys that were bankruptcy attorneys are now becoming bill collector attorneys. But it was the worst thing to do because people were filing for the wrong reasons. They were filing because they were getting harassed by bill collectors. And all they had to do, when I do a seminar, I'll say, here's the attorney's office here, here's my office here. You're getting harassed by a bill collector. You go to the attorney's office, he's going to say, file bankruptcy, let it all done, but you have bankruptcy on your credit report from 7 to 10 years, depending on the bankruptcy. And no bill collector will ever harass you again. Now you come to my office and you say, Pearl, I'm getting harassed by bill collectors, and my credit's real bad. Well, 1, I'm going to stop the bill collectors. We're going to sue them, and you're going to put money in your pocket. 3, I'm going to correct all the credit reports for your bad credit. And 4, you're going to have good credit, the minimum of 30 days. Which do you prefer? Well, which would you prefer? As I'm sitting in and make it so easy for you. But you see, this is lack of education. Now, no one's going to knock on your door to say, hey, there's laws out there. You can't do this. You could do this. You can't do this. No one's going to knock on your door. That's what I figured out 10 years ago. Our country wanted people with credit problems. They wanted people with credit problems. Why? Because there's not enough money. If everybody had good credit in our country, we would be hurting. So instead, since they wanted people with credit problems, they went a little bit too overboard. Now it's way overboard. They can't control it now.
Well, there are many reasons. Excuse me, Paul was our guest. We're talking about credit. We have any questions on the line there, Ron?
I have a few.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go through some questions for Paul. On the chat room, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 10 minutes left.
This one. I do not have enough credit. How can I build up credit without getting a credit card?
Good question, and I'll give you a simple answer. There's a couple ways. 1, if you don't have any credit, you need to build up credit to get the credit score. There's one way. If you have, let's say, $500 or even $300, you go to your bank. That's the quickest way. You go to your bank and you tell that you ask for a supervisor and you say, I want a savings account, I'm putting in $300, but I want to take a loan off of this $200, and I don't want to take the loan off it, I want to take the loan off it and pay it for 6 months to establish credit with your bank so it appears on my credit report. Any supervisor or anything at any bank will do this for you. The next step is you can go to a clothes store. If you go to a clothes store and you say, look, I want to put something on layaway, but I want to open up an account just so I can get credit with you. So I want to put it on layaway, but the main purpose is to get an account with you. That's the second way of putting something on your credit report without it hurting your score. Then also, you can actually go to a gas station. Gas stations are the easiest. And you could say, hey, I want a credit card. Even if you don't drive, open up a credit card under the gas company. Normally 99% of the gas companies will give you credit with no credit because they know you're trying to establish credit. But the main big one is to go to your bank and don't apply all over the place. If you apply all over the place, if you got turned down once, they're all going to turn you down because they're saying, hey, this person's applying too many times. There's something wrong. We don't trust them.
Okay, thank you for that question. You're taking your questions on the chat room. Ron, what's our next question for Pearl Polto? Speaking of credit.
Next question is, hi, Pearl.
Hi.
How do you get help dealing with medical bills that are not being paid by Medicare?
Love it, love it, love it. I just did 3 of them this week for a client. What you deal with them is you contact, in writing, you contact it's a bill collector, and I'm assuming it's a bill collector because I had 3 of them this week. A lot of them I had to write to these bill collectors to say, this person has only this Medicaid or Medicare, whatever they had, and stop harassing them. Well, let me tell you something. When you write a letter that says stop harassing them under the Fair Debt Collection Act, they're so scared, especially the medical department, because the doctor's held responsible. The doctor's held by the same laws, especially if he hires the wrong bill collectors. So if that nurse or that secretary that's in there that's getting this letter sees communication letters, believe me, it's going to scare her, and she's not going to write you another letter. She may even call you if she's that scared. But there's a copy of the letter in the book, though, but that you can do yourself. But that tells me it's also on your credit report. If it's on your credit report, that has to be deleted, removed, to get your score back up again.
Thank you. We have any other questions?
Yes. We got a few.
Okay.
Can your house be taken from you for not paying your medical bills? Bill from Lenny, Pennsylvania.
You know, a medical bill, depending how high your medical bill is, no, your house, they can put a judgment against you, and most likely if the doctor has a good attorney, he can hire an attorney to put a judgment against you. Can they take your house? No. Will they take your house? No. Can you fight it? Yes. And that's what you want to do. You want to fight it. You want to take it off your credit report. Can they put a tax lien on your property? No. But the thing is, you do want to fight it. You don't want to be in denial and then wipe it away. It's not going to go away. And this is why I say every 6 months pull a copy of your credit report, especially if you're getting harassed by somebody. And sometimes it's an honest mistake. Sometimes it's such an honest mistake, but they cannot. The only one, to make it easier on you to clarify something with you, the only one that can take your car is the bank that you have your loan from. The only one that can take your home is your mortgage company or the home equity loan that you did not pay. Secured. Anything that's secured is what you signed. Watch what you're signing on the contracts. Is it secured or not secure? They cannot take the inside possession of your home. They cannot. Credit cards, again, are like the casino chip. Unsecured. They can't touch it. And people don't know this because they intimidate you so much.
Pearl Polto was our special guest. The book Credit Lifeline, 6 CDs available by calling 1-800-856-CREDIT.
876.
I'm sorry, 1-800-876-CREDIT. And the investment in this information, ladies and gentlemen, will not only be beneficial to you, but for your children, your grandchildren. It's a great, for the person who has everything, give them a copy of this information. Ron, the next question on our chat room, please.
Should I pay medical bills with my credit card so they can't take my house?
Well, you know, you can pay any bills with your credit cards, and I suggest that, especially if you know how to do it. And if you can pay one with the other. You know, what you can do, if you have good credit, and you have, let's say, 1 credit card, I'm going to say, get 5. And if you get 5, then you can put your hard-working money in the bank, pay one with the other, and it may scare you, but you have to have self-control. You can pay one with the other, put in the bank your hard-working money, even for a year, because all your bank money is your money, and you're paying. It's a Donald Trump trip, I call it. You're paying with the bank's money, and he could do it for a lifetime, and you could do it for a lifetime. So yes, you could pay your credit cards with your medical bills, but then don't pay the medical bills that are bill collectors with the credit card companies, because then you're fighting everything. Don't pay bill collectors. Remember, don't ever pay bill collectors.
Next question, if we have one there.
Oh yeah, we have them coming through. Rick from Doylestown. What about my credit limit? My bank raised mine to about $10,000. Should I reduce this, or is it better just to have it as high as possible?
Have it as high as possible. Sky is the limit. And it's not saying that you're not using it just because they give you $100,000. Take it. I mean, don't say I don't want it. You take it. If they gave you $1 million, take it. You can buy a mansion and then say, well, credit card debt, that's it. You just bought a house with credit card debt. So if they gave you a mansion, call me. I'll gladly, or we'll gladly take it from you.
We'll sublet. What's the next question, Ron, on the Irv Homer Broadcasting on IrvHomer.com?
Gentleman's wife and himself are struggling with student loan payments. Do you have any advice on how to deal with these people?
Yes.
We've already done forbearance and placed the loans on hold.
You know, student loans, the IRS, are the only things that they can come after you on and attach your bank account. And with student loans especially, got stricter. What I normally tell even my clients is, one, pay something. You don't even have to call them. Pay something, and as long as they cash your check, then that's a contract with you. If you were paying them, let's say $50 a month, and you can only afford $10 a month, and if they cash it, make a copy of that as per my conversation. You don't have to call, because sometimes when you call, they say we don't want to accept it. Pay what you can. As long as you pay them something, even if it's $1, they have to accept it, and they will take it until you're out of the process that you're in. If you're sick, lost your job, they will agree with you. Just don't run from them, because they can become very strict, just like the IRS, and they can attach wages that you don't want to. So work around with your student loans, because they are workable.
Another question?
Yes.
Anything but Rick from Doylestown.
Yeah,
Rick, you got 2 questions in tonight, Rick. That's enough.
Right.
We love you, but...
All right, how do you get, there's 2 questions. How do you stop creditors from calling?
First of all, creditors don't harass you. Bill collectors do. Creditors, again, as we said it earlier during the show, creditors can charge off your account and collect the money from you. So they're not concerned about harassing you. Bill collectors, if you have a bill collector harassing you, you get their name, get their address, send them what is called cease communication. Please cease all communications as of the above date. Send it out to them. And when you send it out to them, they have to stop all calls. A lot of people will say they're not giving me the right name. If you don't want to send out a cease communication letter, when they call, don't be afraid of that phone call, because that phone call, I always call it a lottery ticket. It could make you money. Tell them they're being taped, and you're setting this to the Federal Trade Commission, to a consumer advocate, to a talk show. You're setting this. They'll hang up on you that quick. So they're only going to antagonize you if you allow them to. It's your right, not their right, and they know it.
And the second question on that
last one is, how do you find out your credit score?
You can find out your credit score just by very easy. You can pull it up if you're on the website. You can pull it. You're allowed one free report a year. It should be on your report, and don't pull it up a second time. And I always say with people with credit problems that, like I'm cleaning, I always say I'm going to give you your score at the beginning. Do not pull it up on the second try, because as you see the words deleted on a credit report, your scores are up higher and higher and higher. So you don't need to. By the time you go to that mortgage company, you'll know you got a high score for that mortgage company.
Pearl Polto, it's always a fast time when you're on here, and we thank our callers for calling in on the chat room. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Pearl Polto's book, Credit Lifeline. It's great reading. It's easy reading, and that's what I like about Pearl's writing. I can understand it. If I can understand it, I'm sure you can. Also, the 6 CDs that are available, you simply call 1-800-876-CREDIT. 1-800-876-CREDIT, and get a copy of it. I know you know it all, and I know it's not going to happen to you, but in the event it does, you will be prepared. Once again, let me remind you, on the September 8th archive, get a copy of the Electoral College. It'll inform you as how and why you think that the popular vote is going to win the presidential election. It doesn't. The Electoral College is the way that we pick our presidents. No, they do not have a football team. I'm Irv Homer. My website, once again, is www.irvhomer.com. Email address is evilirv@irvhomer.com. And all of this technology is brought to you by my son Ron at RGH Computer Services. For all your computer needs or your problems, you give him a call. He'll sit down with you over the telephone. He answers. I said, Ron, you can't make any money that way, answering questions over the telephone. But he's one of those generous guys. So if you have difficulty with your computer and he can walk you through, just give him a call at 215-322-8685. 215-322-8685. Pearl, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I love you dearly.
Pleasure.
Our relationship over the years has been really great. You've helped an awful lot of people.
And hope to help a lot
and
more.
a lot of people need it. But Pearl has to make a living. And making a living is tough today. So you call 1-800-876-CREDIT. 1-800-876-CREDIT. The book is well worth it. Take my word for it. Pearl, thanks so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure.